Very good evening. I am Shilpa and I welcome you all to the CIT NCERT special live program NISHTHA, National Initiative for School Heads and Teachers for Holistic Advancement. Today we shall discuss Module 5 of NISHTHA, which is on integration of ICT in teaching, learning and assessment. And with us we have Dr. Angel Ratnabai, Assistant Professor from CIET NCERT. And we have Dr. Rajal Karim Barbhuya, Assistant Professor from CIET NCERT too. I welcome you both.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And before we proceed, I would like to inform our viewers that you can watch NISHTHA live session on alternative days of the week. The days are Monday, Wednesday and Friday. And you can watch repeat telecast on alternative days, and the days are Tuesday, Thursday and Saturday. The timing will remain same, that is 5:30 to 6:30. And during the live session, if you come across any questions related to the module, particularly as for now for today, then you can actually comment during our YouTube live streaming, which is happening now. And our official YouTube channel is NCERT Official. Now coming back to our experts, today we are talking about ICT and its integration in teaching, learning and assessment. Please to guide us more about this module 5.
Thank you so much and welcome to this session today. And to start with, we are going to start with a small activity. So let us all take your mobiles. I request all the participants who are viewing this program through TV or through YouTube, please take your mobiles in your hands. So just please see the instruction on the screen. Please take your mobiles and type in your mobile, open a browser and type menti.com. When you type menti.com, you will be asked to enter a code. So please enter the code 862921. So this is a very small activity which is going to give you, once you open you will see the same question on your screen. So please give your answer whether you are watching this live session through television or through YouTube. Just click and submit your answers. So I'm just repeating it how to go about if you're not clear how to do this. So I'm just showing you how to do it. Just go to the browser, type it as menti.com. You will be getting a screen like this. In this screen, just you can start typing 862921. So I'm just typing in the code 862921 and just submit it. So you are already getting a question on your screen. How are you watching this live session? Whether through TV or through YouTube. So please attempt this activity and let's see what is the responses. So whatever you are submitting as response, we are able to see on the screen right now. Let us take few seconds and give opportunity for more persons to respond to us. Just to repeat how to do it, go to the browser, type menti.com. When you click menti.com and type menti.com and enter, you will be asked to enter a code. So the code is 862921. So I'm just typing 862921. When you submit it, it will ask you a question. How are you watching this live session? So whichever is your answer, click on the answer and just submit it. So you are able to see here, you are all watching from a different location, different places in different mode, but we are able to see your response in a very dynamic manner and we are able to see what is your response on the screen. Thank you. Please continue giving your response in this. Kindly note down this code with you if you have not yet completed. Kindly note down the code in your notebook 862921. Throughout this program, if you are not able to complete, also you can complete, so that we'll come back to this at the end of this session. So let's move into the discussion of ICT pedagogy integration in teaching, learning and assessment. So to start with, if we have to ask ourselves a question, what does ICT refer to? If this is a question going to be asked to us, many times we tend to answer it as information and communication technology. But it is very important to understand as a teacher what it is. So when we see this graphic on the screen, we can understand that ICT refers to anything. It can be a hardware, it can be a software, it can be a process or a system, but that helps you to do creating, retrieving, storing, manipulating, sending and receiving digital information. So the very important word here is digital information. If it is not digital information and if the 6 processors are not happening, we cannot call anything as ICT. But our concern as a teacher is how do we integrate this ICT in our classroom. So before we move on to that, let's understand why we really need ICT in our classroom. Is it very useful? So this question has been already asked for you to participate, and from morning many of you have responded. So let us see your responses, what you have given as a response. So you can see the screen right now. For this, already 148 participants have already answered who are registered in this course. But you can see all your answers are looking like a word cloud. So from this word cloud, it's easy for us to understand that most of you has given that the very first use of ICT, a top one we can say, is it helps in understanding better. And the second thing, you can see the font sizes are different and the font colors are also differentiated, but the larger fonts dictate us that this many, it's a most answered answer. So the second thing which has come as a most prominent answer is that ICT can help when effective teaching. The third thing it has written is, ICT is very interesting. So the moment you start answering from your own places, but we are able to get all your answers here in a form of a word cloud, which not only gathers all your answers, but also does the analysis at the back end and gives us the analysis of what is the answers. So now as a presenter, I have not invested my time to collect all your answer, do the analysis. In that way, ICT has helped the presenter to make this work very easy. So as many of you have written, ICT can help the teaching learning process as well as the assessment process easier than the normal classroom activities which we do. So this is one of the benefit which you all have realized and which is also showcased here. So the second thing which is the very prominent one is understand. Many of us has written that ICT helps in understanding, but let us question ourselves whether ICT really helps in understanding all the content. Can we use ICT for every content which we are teaching? So it's a very important question a teacher has to think about before we think of integrating ICT into our classroom. So let us see some quick examples. So let me show you some quick examples to understand how really ICT helps in our teaching learning process. We all have learned mathematics in our secondary level, till our secondary as a compulsory subject, and we have learned this theorem that sum of the interior angles of a triangle is 180 degree. How did we learn this theorem? So when we ask this to some of the questions, do you believe that the sum of the interior angles of any triangle is 180 degree? In one of these survey, around 86.4% of the students told, I don't believe it. So we were very surprised and we asked them, why are you not believing it? So they said, it was only shown by my teacher drawing one triangle on the screen, and they told us, when you add this triangle sum, it is 180 degree. We have seen it only for one triangle. So how do we believe that it is same for every triangle? So some of the children told, our teacher has told us to do some activity. In our class 40 students were there. We were asked to take 40 new papers and we cut our own self some triangles, and we were asked to measure the angles and try to find a sum. But even then we are not able to believe that, because in our class only 40 students were there and only 40 students have checked it. Only we have checked for 40 triangles. We have learnt in 6th standard about in number system, we have learnt up to crores. 40 is a very small number. So how do we really believe that it is true for all triangles? So this is how our children are left out with our proper understanding. Many times, many things are just, it's like a memory game. They just mug up the things and then they just vomit it when the examination comes. Some of the children who really do not understand this will not be able to do the application questions. So is it important for a child to understand that it is true for all the triangles? So, but it is not possible for a teacher to draw so many triangles in the classroom. She cannot show drawing so many triangles and measuring and showing it. We don't have time in our classroom. So it is very important. This is a place where ICT can help a teacher. So let us see in the screen now. You can see there is a triangle as a teacher draws on the screen, and the angles are marked and the sum is found. This is how a normal teacher teaches in the classroom. So sometimes we tell them to take multiple triangles and do it. But what does this technology does for us? So this is a software called GeoGebra, which helps us to visualize mathematics and to give better understanding of the subject. So when I'm just taking one of the vertex and I'm trying to pull it, can you observe how many triangles I'm proving right now to have the sum as 180 degree? Is it possible for us to count? So it's not only one vertex, I can move any vertex. If you can see, the moment I keep moving the vertex, the triangles keep changing into different types of triangles. So irrespective of the type of triangle, irrespective of where based on sides or based on angles the triangle is, the angle remains 180 degree. So this helps a child to, as many times, within seconds I have shown you hundreds of triangles now. So when we showed this and asked children, do you believe now? The children said, yes, I am not able to count the number of triangles, which has really proved to be 180 degree. So that is how a child was able to really generalize this rather than just accepting it as a fact. So whenever a child needs to understand certain content, it is very important to use appropriate technology as well that can help in making the child understand. Sometimes in our classroom we cannot bring everything into the classroom to make a child visualize. So in that case, because our classroom sizes are large, sometimes we don't have proper infrastructure. These are some of the tools that can be used by a teacher. And this is available as a mobile app as well, so there is no compulsion of having a computer. Most of the houses, at least more than 50% people have mobiles in the home. So they can install this app in their mobiles, and at home also children can explore like this for a better understanding. So as you all have mentioned, so ICT helps for a better understanding only if it is used appropriately according to the content. For example, when you are going to teach parts of the plant, do you really need technology? Because when you show the plant, it is very much easy to understand. When you really take a plant, show them this is a leaf, this is a root. So whenever you see that if the content demands ICT, we should use ICT. Otherwise, we should not use technology. So the one point which a teacher should remember is, whenever you are going to choose technology for using in your classroom, let's ask this question. Do this content require technology for my classroom, or is it not required? If you feel, if I require this, what type of technology is required in my classroom? For example, if you are going to teach that New Delhi is the capital of India, so do you need a video to teach that? It's only a fact which a child has to understand. So for that there is a need only of a flashcard or a slide presentation. But in case you need to say that Delhi is in the northern part of India and it is closer to Himalayas, is it possible to just say in a word which a child can understand who has never seen Himalayas, who doesn't know how the northern part is? In that case, we really need to show a map to the children, which could be a digital image, or sometimes it could be a dynamic tool like any dynamic digital globe that can be shown to just make them understand where really Delhi is. So the very first point we need to understand is whenever we are going to take technology, the technology will really help in understanding only if it is chosen appropriately according to the content. As you have all said, the second very important thing is it helps in making effective learning. Many times this word is very easily handled. So if we really want to make our classroom very effective, how do we really make it? Many of us are science teachers in this group. We have been teaching science in our classroom. So let me show this example. So if you see here, we have been teaching pH value for students for many times. So how do we teach children pH value? So a very simple question we are asked to the teacher, what is the pH value of human blood? Whether human blood is acidic in nature or basic in nature. Even many of the science teachers couldn't answer this question. They were very much doubtful. They were saying it is around 5, it is around 13. So they were not very clear. So we asked the science teachers, why are you not able to answer? So they said, very simple answer is, madam, we never took blood and tried to find our own pH value. That is the reason what we are bringing out, that many times in our classroom we are not able to give the experience to the children. Even a teacher has not got experience when they have studied in their own school or their colleges. So it is very important that a child should experience to understand what to be learned. Then only the learning will be more effective. So for example, let us see this tool which is called this is a type of a simulation which you can access is from the website called FET. It's all free simulations which are available for teachers to use it. So here we can see it's a very simple thing where you can choose whenever the classroom doesn't have infrastructure to bring so much of solutions to your classroom and give it to all the children to test by themselves. A virtual lab can help in our school level. Because most up to the elementary level, we don't have a separate science lab for the children to use it. So in such cases, we can surely bring such virtual labs for demonstration. We decide how to teach the content, how to teach the method as is decided basically on the type of content. So right now, I want to come to an understanding what happens to the pH value when water is added to any solution. Whether the pH value increases or whether the pH value decreases. You wanted to do this experiment before trying to understand why it increases or when it increases. So it is not possible for a teacher to bring so much of liquid and all the gadgets for a children to the classroom to give it to each person to experience. It is very good to give the practical hands-on experience. That is our foremost thing. But in case wherever you are not able to give, at least let us try to give the virtual experience. So this software helps you to give a virtual experience. So let me take for example, I'm just taking I have chosen human blood. When I just pour it, I'm just taking from and getting it poured into the measuring jar here. I can just use this pH tester, keep it, and you can see the human blood's pH value is on an average like 7.4. There can be a little up and down, but actually it's around 7.4. So what happens to this pH value of this blood when I add water? So we asked this question to many teachers, science teachers, and most of them told it will decrease. Okay, let's try that. So I'm trying to add water in this. What's happening to the pH value? Yes, it is decreasing. So next we said, okay, let's take another solution. We took chicken soup. we started filling the measuring jar with the chicken soup. So now you can see what is the pH value of chicken soup. It's around 5.80. So what will happen now when you add water? When we asked this question, many teachers said it's also getting diluted. So it will be surely, it will decrease. So when we add water, you can observe that pH value is increasing. So we asked the question, why when one solution pH value is decreasing in one which is increasing, it's not just the dilution, something else is there. This is how a class starts in a classroom where a child is left out with curiosity to understand why it happens. When a child asks the question why it happens, it enables them to move forward to understand. So many times we are not able to give such experiences in the classroom because of lack of facilities, lack of infrastructure, or sometimes the larger class. So during this time we can take help of technology to be used in our classroom so that it can be, at least the teacher can show in a wider screen. And this is also available as a mobile phone. You can tell the children to explore at home, come to the class and continue your discussion in the classroom. So as we discussed, a classroom teaching can be made effective only when if you are using appropriate pedagogy and also appropriate technology. If I keep explaining this, children may not understand. I need to really demonstrate it. So for demonstration, I cannot use a simple slide presenter. I cannot use a PowerPoint slide to show that this is how it works. I need to show them. I need to record a video, or directly I can use any of this virtual simulation. So these are the points we need to really question ourselves. There are one first question is this method of teaching, learning or assessment appropriate? Does it need really technology? And again, which technology is appropriate? Only when we ask these two questions, we can really make our choice of technology to be correct, and it will really make our classroom teaching very effective. The third very important point is to make interesting. We really believe that teachers have lots of skills in them which they can make classroom interesting with their own voice, with their own actions and everything. But can really technology make classroom also interesting? In a situation like this, sometimes, many times, we are not having a opportunity to take our children to a field trip. Though we keep saying field trips are good for learning social sciences. That is where this virtual tours are there. So this is a site which is called as Art and Culture. So this Art and Culture is also there as a mobile app. So here you can see, we cannot visit all the museums in the world. How many of us have visited at least the museums in our own state? We don't get time to go, or we are not able to take our children everywhere. So that is where it has brought 2,000 museums across the world on a screen. It's not just a photo. So I have just searched here, Archaeological Survey of India. So as you all are aware, all the monuments of India are maintained by Archaeological Survey of India. So in the screen you can see that many times we teach about Red Fort. But how many of our children have really seen Red Fort? How do you show them? Most of the time we show them only the photo. So child don't get an experience of really visiting a Red Fort. So this is where the virtual tour of every monument in India has been given. So I can just click on the monument which you wanted to show, or the historical place you wanted to show. You can see right now I'm showing from a laptop. So I'm just moving the mouse and I'm just showing you. But when you use this in mobile, as you walk, you will be feeling that you are visiting that place really. So this is how virtual tours can really help. Like for one more example is this Ajanta and Ellora caves. So when you see, when you really use this in your mobile, you will get the experience of really visiting that place. If the direction you ask, it will show you the whatever is there in that direction. I request all of you to try today just visiting at least one archaeological place of India which you have never visited, using this virtual tool. So you just have to download Google Art and Culture, or you can just type in your, to have a better experience, just put it in your mobile, install and use it. So such kind of technology can really bring interest in children. So if you see this, the very important point is whenever we want to use technology in make it effective, interesting, and also it helps to understand and make us easy, the very first point we need to consider is whether it is appropriate to the content what you are teaching, and the very second point is it appropriate to the method you have chosen to teach the content. So let us move to the third important point which we need to think about.
Yeah. So thank you, Dr. Angel. Viewers, as you can see, as she has raised this important aspect, is that as you can see in this image, the third important pillar is the technology in that team. So the role of technology, as we know, in teaching learning process is enormous, right? And technology's possibilities are again enormous. Many of us as a teacher, we have been exploring lots of tools and technologies which we are well versed with, and there are many such tools and technologies which we are keen or excited to learn, all right. And so as you can see on the screen, we have listed some of the very well known and popular free and open source software tools and technologies that are particularly being used in teaching, learning and assessment processes. But however, this list is not exhaustive. There are regularly technologies being upgraded and coming up, and we as a teacher are regularly, of course, updating ourselves and keeping ourselves upgraded. Okay. However, as she has already said, technology's possibilities are enormous, but we as a teacher have to be very careful and very innovative in deciding which technology is to be used and where. So we have to build up the context. So which technology is appropriate to the content and method chosen, as she has already said, like which pedagogical method you are using to teach or transact a particular concept, and for that concept, out of the all those available technologies, which one you are going to use. Suppose you are going to go for assessment. So you know that for doing, you are doing a formative assessment. So formative assessment, how do you do? Are you going to do it only with multiple or objective type of question? If say yes, then you find out that there are these many n number of tools available. Out of these tools, which I am going to use? So what kind of question I am going to put? If it is a mathematics subject, my questions will be different, wherein my learners may be going to expected to do some calculation and enter a result instead of choosing some option. So depending again on subject and the nature of the content, you are going to use a tool. And this is not only in the case of assessment, you are whether you are going to teach, you are going to communicate or explain certain things, all right. So, and another important pillar we have to bring in here is, along with technology, is the context. So I would like to see you on the screen, as you can see that context is pretty important. Okay, Dr. Angel has already given some idea about context. Okay, so in the context you have to see two broader parameters. One is your learner, because your learner is the key. So you have to see, when you are going to use technology, you have to keep in mind always your learner. So when you are thinking about learner, what you are going to keep in mind? Learner's age group of the learner. Of course, depending on particular age group, you can expect certain level of technological integration. Second is your learner's background, whether learner has access to super fast internet, learner has access to sufficient devices, all right. Then another parameter is in the context itself. Other than learner, you have to think about the context, resources. Okay, what all resources you have available. Okay, and availability of hardware, software, physical devices, or the ICT infrastructure. Okay, so yeah, as you can see on the screen, we kind of categorize infrastructure availability into 4-5 broad areas. Okay, ideal level we expect is that there will be a learner sitting at home or at school with a laptop with a fairly good internet speed. Okay, that kind of a ideal situation, wherein you expect that, you given this environment, you can you can kind of highest level of transaction or adoption of information and communication technology with your learners, but the reality is sometimes that may not be available. Okay. However, as she has already said, a good chunk of or good percentage of households are having smartphones with fairly good 4G speed of internet, right, in today's date. So, if your learner does not have, in COVID situation when people are stuck at home, schooling is not happening, if learner does not have a laptop, whether can the parents mobile phone with a fairly good internet speed, can it be utilized? Fine. Then you have to, given that context, you have to contextualize, or you have to plan your teaching learning process, and keeping that in mind that everything I am going to communicate is only through the mobile device. So, accordingly you have to plan your integration of ICT. However, given that supposing that is also not there, so what do you do? So, you can again think that maybe some of my percentage of my learner may have only television. Okay. So, what do you do? Can this kind of program, as we are doing it right now, at least those who may not have a mobile phone access or a computer, can they see it on SWAYAM Prabha channel or some other state television channel or some side kind of television program which can be disseminated? Or even if a household TV is not available, can there be, in if it is a remote area and there is a community television, community center is there, wherein can there be some facility, does there exist some facility wherein you can kind of mass viewing, you invite the kids and show them some generic program. Okay. Another prospect is radio, particularly the community radio. Can we broadcast some of the audio programs, good programs, or some mode of communication with parents, teachers, right? So, okay. Now I am not going to repeat, like technology possibilities are enormous. The success or the key is we as a teacher, how better we plan from our experience, from our practice, how better we decide that this particular topic concept I am going to follow this pedagogy, and for this pedagogy I am going to use this particular 2-3 set of technological tools, right. Okay. Another important aspect I would like to cover in this session is that when you are in a digital environment, particularly as a learner, at times that learner is vulnerable. Okay, because digital environment is not kind of strictly monitored vis-a-vis your say school or classroom situation, right. You are kind of in an open world. So, there are certain parameters or aspects one has to keep in mind that we are going to list down here, so that you better travel, or you better survive in a digital environment, or you better roam around in a digital environment in a safe manner. Okay. So, some of the points can be, say when you are into a digital, all these points I am going to say is equally applicable to whether you are a teacher or you are either a student. Okay. So, I would request if you are watching this program as a teacher, that you carry on this advice, pass on this advice to your children, to your kids. Okay. So, some of the broad points that we need to keep in mind is that we should be very careful, cautious while posting photographs, videos and any other personal or sensitive information on the internet. Okay. So, we should not be just like just because I took an online class and I had some session videos with me, unless very much required, why should I go to some social networking site for example, and why to upload it, why to create unnecessary trouble? Does that make any improvement or help me in teaching learning process? Fine, otherwise why to get into all those things. Okay. If you are taking online classes, particularly this kind of video conferencing based classes are very popular these days. If you are doing so, then participation of your children or their parents, if they are in lower classes, should be strictly monitored. Okay. Supposing you are doing a video conferencing and you have created an online meeting link. So, whosoever is getting access to your link, whosoever is joining, whether on joining they are turning on their videos and introducing themselves, should be strictly monitored, because you have young kids with them who are, as I said, are vulnerable. Okay. Some other points that we should also keep in mind is that the passwords. We usually create many digital accounts. So, all our accounts should be strongly protected with strong set of passwords. Again, for all your websites, please do not have same password in everywhere. Do not have, for example, mobile number or your surname. No, keep something which I can't guess easily, right. Second point I would like to focus on here is that Again, don't reveal your personal information like your PAN card number, your age, your date of birth, unless very much required. Why to share everything online? Okay. And on a digital environment, when you are communicating, try as much as possible only to communicate with someone whom you really know. Someone just unknown comes and tries to befriend with you or your student, just try to be more careful. All right. There are some other points, like while in a digital environment, you should keep in mind certain ergonomic aspects, right? So, your sitting posture, how you are sitting, while you keep holding the mouse, how you are holding your mouse, how long you are sitting, all right? Because obesity is a real concern in our society. So, one shouldn't sit down in a computer in front of a digital environment for too long hours, right? Try to take in between breaks, all right? Yeah. Another important aspect is that so much fake news is there. So, just be cautious while forwarding anything. Just simply don't blindly believe whatever you get to see come across online is to be very genuine and simply pass on in every telecommunication group that you have or electronic group. No, please try to verify authenticity of anything, because it may confuse others, it may give others wrong information. All right. Yeah, as rightly mentioned here, after using your digital accounts, online accounts, if it is in a public computer particularly, please try to sign out of all your accounts, don't leave them unaccounted. Okay. And in a public computer, supposing in a cyber cafe or in someone else's computer, you are using your pen drive or your hard drive, so think twice before using. Okay. If possible, try to take the file or through email or some other mode. Okay. Don't try to plug in your devices in any just kind of things. So, the list is endless. However, I would suggest you to keep in mind some of the aspects. Okay. Yeah. And don't try to bully others. Try to save yourself and save others also from getting bullied or bullying. Okay. Don't post anything just randomly which may hurt others' sentiment. And while using any software or any tool, try to avoid pirated software. Please try to avoid a pirated software. Only use genuine software if you have the license, or at least try to find out an open source alternative of that and use that. All right. So, with these points, I would like to kind of wrap our discussion on integration of ICT, because as we have been told that we have to give some time for if any question viewers have. Yeah.
Yes. As you said, if the questions, any viewers have any questions, certainly they have several questions. So, we will take questions one by one. So, the first question has been asked by Miss Megha. She is from Kerala. She is asking that you talked about the use of ICT and three aspects you talked on, that is understanding concept better, and the other one was effective teaching and for making concept interesting. So, she is talking about the third aspect, to making concept interesting. She is asking that how ICT can help to make education interesting. I am a computer science teacher, I need technical insight too.
Yeah,
would you like to take
please.
So, being a computer science teacher, I think like you must be teaching in a higher secondary level. If it is till secondary level, it's not like a very serious theory like languages you teach, but when you come to higher secondary level, there is a lot of things which is very in depth to teach. But even in computer science, the very basic thing of computer science is to learn the logic of applying for programming. So many children are now getting interest towards computer science, not just because it's a white collar job they will get and that they will be getting a high thing, but it's because of this logical thinking skill which is being very much popularized by using all this coding kind of software. So for example, there is a tool called Scratch. It's a very simple thing, but it can be really played by adult even. From class 3 child to adult, they all can work in a same platform, but how you are really able to apply the skill of programming, a skill of logical thinking. Many times what we think, we just teach the theory and tell them to just go about it. If there is a programming, write in C language, write it in Python, but the major thing is everything behind is that logical thinking has to be improved. So that is where a computer teacher can use such tools, not just to bring the exact content in the subject, but also to bring the interest in the children
Right.
towards that subject.
Right. So shall we move on to the next question?
Yes.
Yes. And so the next question has been asked by Miss Menika, and she is asking that she is a new teacher. So she is saying that the whole teaching world when she joined has been shifted to the online teaching. So she is not able to visualize now when she will be back to the classroom scene, how to integrate ICT in that. So can you guide it concerning that?
Okay. Yeah, I would like to take this. First of all, yeah, this is we are into an uncertain territory due to this pandemic, wherein everything kind of, as she has rightly said, has shifted into a digital environment. I would like to suggest her one more important aspect is that let us all recall when we as a child were attending our classes, how we were taught. Okay, our teacher used to come to class, explain something, whether you call it lecture mode or whatever, explain something, then do something, draw something on the board, and at times ask us, so that we as a student are engaged, right. That is the challenge in a digital environment, that your student is not in front of you, you do not even know when the child is attentive or not. So, what are the things you can do is that try to make your lecture as far interactive as possible. Do not try to have monotonous 30-minute long continuous one-way communication. Try to have in between certain questions, like as we started this discussion with a small activity of Mentimeter. So that makes everyone kind of involved and get interested, right. So in an online environment, after a small chunk of contents or sessions, try to give small quick assignments, maybe a few multiple choice questions, right, and try to involve. Okay, for if they are in lower level, younger kids, try to communicate with their parents, not maybe on a daily basis, maybe on a weekly basis, fortnightly basis, and try to kind of involve. Don't, I mean, my one giveaway will be, don't follow monotonous one-way communication. That's the only way.
Just to add to this point, since she is a new teacher, she would also be interested like what technology I will use. Where do I go and learn all this suddenly?
True.
Because there are many teachers who are now in that situation. Suddenly I have to do something with this, which is online, which I am not. So NCERT has taken an initiative of conducting a webinar on various ICT tools that a teacher can use. So if you have not, till now we have completed 130 days of webinars. So it's continuing every day, and in the same SWAYAM Prabha channel they can watch at 4 to 5 p.m.
Yes.
So that they can try to learn new tools and how it can be used in the classroom. Even though many of them must have missed that sessions for 130 days, you can just go to the browser and just type in your browser NCERT webinar. So the moment you type and just click, you will get a page, webinar CIT, just click this and just watch. You have all the titles which has been covered till now, and it is also there as a recorded video session which you can watch, and also there is lot of resource materials which is given. So as a new teacher, or even a teacher who is more experienced, who is new to technology, there is enough ways to learn technology. From this, whichever is of your interest area, they can start learning one by one at a time.
Yes, wonderfully suggested. We'll move on to the next question, and this has been asked by Miss Deepika. She is asking that NCERT focuses much on joyful learning and learning by doing. So how, when we will integrate ICT into the education, how we will achieve these two aspects?
Okay. Yeah. Again, I would like to say, suggest here is that, in fact, recently we have developed an online course as well for teachers, particularly science teachers, wherein what we are doing is that in the course content itself, instead of giving straight away theoretical content or simply loading a video, we are saying is that we are encouraging the learners or the teachers to start doing some activity and then make a connection. Okay. So, when you are transacting or communicating as a teacher, say you are taking class 6 kids science concept or social science, some chapter, some concept. So, try to give, involve your learners, saying that chalo, let us kids join with me and do some activity. Okay. You design such kind of activity which child can easily do at their home with minimum parental support. Easily they can do with locally available resources so they can do, okay, because that's how you can keep them involved in the teaching learning process, okay.
A very good example for this, for a primary level kid. Many times we think technology means it is only some gadget and hardware. But there is a mobile app which is called as Qword. You can always go to the website and also find out. There are coloring sheets which are available in the website. So usually those coloring sheet, there is a package for education which has variety of coloring sheets. So what is this soft app is about is, we can take the printout of the coloring sheet, use it in a coloring classroom as first coloring activity. So every child is grouped into 5 or 6 children in a group, and they are just asked to color. Now in a COVID situation, being at home also, they can just take a printout, do individually color, then install the Qword mobile app and just you try to scan the image. It is beautifully, it comes to life. Like it's a augmented based app, augmented reality based app, which tries to give you the reality before you just by scanning a drawing which a child has done. This makes a child gets really excited. There is a bird which keeps the bird picture, when a child has drawn it, colored it, and then the scan, the bird starts walking. So the child gets really excited. So there are ways in which we can really use technology, not as just a gadget. There are enough tools that can integrate other things to make the classroom interesting.
Okay. So here I'll take a one common question which has been asked by several viewers of us. They all are saying, what if the teacher doesn't know how to use ICT? Few are saying that what about how to introduce ICT in tribal areas? Some are saying we are not very much aware of how to integrate it. So this is the commonly asked question. I would like you both to answer it.
Okay. As we have already said, nobody was prepared for this sudden pandemic. However, we are learning the hard way. All of a sudden we have got this jolt, and everything, particularly the school, is closed down. So we all, I mean particularly in teaching learning community, we are trying to learn in our own largely. As Dr. Angel has said, that CIT NCERT has taken this initiative of 130 continuous sessions so far of daily of 1 hour, 4 to 5 p.m. wherein each day one new tool, ICT tool, which is very much relevant in teaching, learning and assessment, has been covered or explained, demonstrated with examples and explained by experts who are expert teachers again who are using that. So I again request all my fellow teachers to carefully go through, because all the video recordings of previous episodes are available there along with the presentations. So they can slowly one by one learn, try to develop some interest in those tools. Okay.
Okay.
In addition to that, to start with, one may not be very friendly with technology, but at least first of all one has to find out is that how do I guide my students, even if I am not able to give my recorded video or have an available video, or out of all the available contents on internet, can I guide my students that these are some good quality content of resource. So can I as a teacher myself browse through so many available contents and list down some good quality contents and kind of pass on at least the links with my learners, saying that these are good contents for your subject, for your class. So this is one way, just this is not the way, at least this is something where you can start some communication with your students. Slowly both the teacher and the student gain some confidence, and then you start into exploring, and then you develop interest, you develop new tools, and then you get excited. And as she showed, for example, the simulation, this FET simulation about the pH scale. So once you get you very much interested, or this GeoGebra applet showing that some of the triangles is 180 degree. So tomorrow you come to know that there is another GeoGebra applet which helps me to prove Pythagoras theorem. All right. So now you realize that how as a teacher you face so much difficulty in explaining the Pythagoras theorem. So you may quickly take help of this GeoGebra applet and try to explain. So that way, slowly but gradually, definitely you will build a rapport with the technology. That's it.
Yes.
Yes. To help all these initial learners, Government of India, under the aegis of Government of India, NCERT has already done a lot of work in developing these contents.
Okay.
Even at the first level, the teacher is not expected to develop or use any software. They can just use, as he has said, he can use the existing software. So some of the initiatives where they can do is they can access the resources from NROER website. They can also access the resources from Diksha website, and even every state has their own repository now. So it's very easy to access these resources, and a complete detail of various initiatives has been given as part of the course, which they can go through and just try to take use of it. And even for those who are not part of this NISHTHA course, if they just search in the YouTube ICT initiatives, we have a video that explains what are the various ICT initiatives that can be used by a new teacher in their profession.
Right. And with this we have come to the end of our session, but before we wrap up, I would like to ask you one question, because the knowledge of it is required for the rest of the viewers, that at the end of the module we have the portfolio activity. Could you please tell us in briefly could you just tell us what has to be done in that?
In this module on ICT pedagogy, integration in teaching, learning and assessment, the portfolio activity is given for you to prepare a lesson plan, maybe a 40 minutes plan, where you have to take a topic of your own choice from the subject you teach, for the level you teach, and then decide, I'm going to teach this content, how do I teach? So what is the method I'm going to use, and what is the different resources I can use in this particular, for teaching this particular content. To just guide the participants, as part of the module itself, a exemplar plan is given. Okay. So if they can go through the exemplar plan, they'll get a complete idea how a class is. It's basically taken as a complete chapter and it is planned. As part of portfolio, we are expecting them to just take one topic from a chapter and then plan for a 40 minutes class. Even if they are not aware of much of ICT tools, so we have given enough, or the mind map of all the tools is given as part of the course. The link to the webinar is given as part of the course. They can just explore and find out, at least, is there any tool that I can use it in my classroom. So they are expected to type in a Word document, or they can also type directly in the text box given under portfolio, or even they can write in paper and scan it and submit it.
Okay. So today what we understood, we actually discussed about the module 5 of NISHTHA, which is on the ICT and its potential in teaching, learning and assessment. And also I'll highlight again, as Dr. Angel has already told us about the portfolio activity, it is at the end of the module. So to all SRGs of Andhra Pradesh are requested to access the course and attempt questionnaires and also activities and submit their portfolio. And if you come across any questions or any queries, there is a discussion forum as well, so you can raise your query there. And thank you to both our experts for guiding us. And with this, I am Shilpa signing off. Till then, take care and keep watching Kishore Manch.